Okay guys, to use the API, it's really simple. Um, Here is the URL, okay, and everything else after it, the question mark, is going to be what you're going to send items. Now, the first one is one item, no modifiers. So breaking it down, here's the session ID. This is a unique ID. It must be unique every time you send it to the server, and you guys can create it. We use the unique ID in the iPad to generate itself. You can create your own for the web. Just make sure it's unique for every single order. Basically, put a timestamp in there and create a unique number in front of it. Okay. Then, what printer is it supposed to print to in the store? So you got to tell it what printer to print to. You can do multiple printers, or you can do one printer. If you do multiple printers, just make sure you use a separator, and that is the separator right there. So you can see down here, this is a different item of course, but you can see two printers down here. But anyway, back up here, that's how you tell it where to print. What is the dish ID? The dish ID you get from the XML file. I'll show you that in a minute. What is the dish name? It's the name of the dish you're sending. Discount, if any, for that particular item. Discount text, why they're doing a discount. Discount tax, you have to tax the discount to take it off the order. Item tax, the item discount amount, item discount text, table number. This is for table service, otherwise it's going to be 1 every single time. Person ID, that is the person logged in to the system. You can use their ID number from the config file. The restaurant ID is always going to be 8. The kitchen on hold will always be 0. Printed will always be 0. PIN number is the PIN number of the user logged in. You can get that from the config file also. Quantity is always going to send it as 1. Tag is blank. Question tag will be blank for you. Option will be blank. Co-price. Now price, that's the price of the item. The co-price. The surcharge is any surcharges for that city, if there are any surcharges. You have option, that's going to be blank, blank. Okay, topping, these are all blank because you don't have anything there. Cooking option, well done, that kind of stuff, it's blank. Additions, subtractions, you're not going to use ever. Let's see, what else do we have here? Everything else you can leave in there as static. You don't need to be changing any of these. Pro course, that's coursing, it's only table service, you're not going to use that, so always course 1. The date, it's in Unix timestamp, always put that in the correct date. Side tax, that's for your sides and your tax rate, you're not going to touch that. Topping tax, you're not going to touch that. I'll show you that in a minute where all that goes. Okay, customer name, that's the customer name. You're going to put the customer name in here, or customer ticket number, so it prints to the kitchen with the correct information so they can say the person's name. Add surcharge, that's a surcharge, you're not going to be using that. Subcharge tax, you're not using that. Customer type, that's eat-in, take-out, delivery. You can put web order in here. That way it prints and it lets them know it's for the web. Okay, modifiers we'll discuss in a second, and then the temp ID. Each item on an order increases by 1 for the temp ID, and you must increase each item by 1, else the iPads, if they were to open up the order, would have a lot of problems. So please follow that instruction. Now, let's take an item that has a couple modifiers on it. Let's jump down to the last one. It's a little bit easier. So this item has an item and a modifier attached to it. So if you look at it, again, it's printing to one printer. But if you look at it, there's a modifier here, and it gives you the ID number of the modifier. And there's a bunch of modifiers, so each modifier is separated by a comma. And then the prices are also separated by a comma. And then the temp ID is 4. Now, this obviously had 3 other items on this order before this one was ordered, and this temp ID is 4. So make sure it only increases by 1 each time you order it. Now, let's go back up a little bit, and you can see on this particular order, it was 3 items were ordered. And you can see printers, it's going to print to, first item, second item, third item, the dish ID, dish name. You see how we do if it's more than one item.